James Ernest of Gruel and Truth Radio Network here with Jon Fitch, MMA legend. So, Jon, how has wrestling helped your MMA?
Well, coming from a wrestling background, I don't think there's a better way to learn how to be tough. And I don't think it's really a sport that encompasses toughness the way that wrestling does. Because you don't really have any other sports where you're constantly put into a bad situation and kind of beat up on a daily basis. No matter how good you are, even if you're the best wrestler in the room, a coach will structure the workout in a way to where your day sucks. So you may have bad days in basketball, but every day is a bad day in wrestling.
Exactly. It's a tough sport for tough men and women that, really challenges. I know what you mean. What was the recruitment process like when you were in high school? Were there any schools that were reaching out to you to try to get you to attend?
Not really. Honestly, there's not a lot of money in wrestling. And my focus before was football. I really wanted to play football in college and possibly professionally. But it wasn't until my senior year that I started realizing that, I was probably too slow and not big enough to play college football or even pro football. And I wasn't getting a lot of phone calls, especially no Division I schools calling for me to play. So I started thinking about, I wanted to go to a big school and compete at a high level, so I thought wrestling would be a better opportunity to compete against higher level people. And, I had the option of going either Purdue or Indiana, and I wasn't a big fan of Indiana, so I chose Purdue.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't get much bigger than Big Ten wrestling. How did...
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I was thinking for a little bit about going into being a Army Ranger or something in the military. That would, push me. But instead, I decided that wrestling in a Big Ten school would be better.
Definitely. So how did being a Walkon motivate you? Did that really, kick you into the next gear, you figure?
Walking on was, you always have a chip on your shoulder because you have to prove something to the guys who are recruited and get money. But there's not a lot of money in wrestling, so there weren't that many guys who had scholarships, and even though they did have scholarships, they weren't like full rides usually. So,
what was? Sorry.
I'm sorry, but no, yeah. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say, what was the impact that Tom Erickson had on your life?
Yeah, so Tom was an assistant coach at Purdue, and I worked with Tom a lot because I was an upper weight, and he had a lot of experience. He'd been on the USA wrestling team as number 2 heavyweight for a really long time, like 13 years, I think, at the Fishbone Gardner. And he'd just been on the sport a long time and knew a lot of people. And he was going and fighting in Pride in Japan when I got to Purdue. And I wasn't even thinking about, being a professional fighter at the time. But him and Gary Goodridge and Mark Coleman coming in town and training at AKA, and some other guys who came in with Tom, I was kind of working with them as extra work to lose some weight, kind of, weight management stuff. And the stuff they were doing was different, so it was fun. It was a fun way to kind of get a sweat on and lose weight without the monotony of wrestling and, continually drilling wrestling stuff. So getting exposed to wrestling, getting exposed to MMA through that, I think it was a good way for me to get confidence in the idea that I could possibly, do it.
Why did you join American Kickboxing Academy?
So I got recruited by Dwayne Zinkin from Z Entertainment, and Dwayne was an all-American college wrestler, and he started getting into the sport didn't want to demand field because he thought wrestlers would do the best in the sport. So he started calling around to different universities and seeing if they had guys who wanted to wrestle. He found me, and one thing led to another, and I ended up going out to California for a week to train at AKA because thinking it was linked up with Crazy Bob and AKA back then. So I went out for a week to train with them because they're setting that up as their home base for their management company and all their fighters. And I came out for a week in like 2002, I think, and just kind of fell in love with San Jose and the amount of coaches and stuff I could learn being in San Jose. So I made a point to move after that semester of school. The next semester of school was over with, and start a new life, new career as a fighter.
Yeah, I can imagine just definitely a culture shock coming from the Indiana area to the West Coast.
Yeah, I had a lot of neighbors looking at me funny when I would drive down the street and wave at them.
Exactly, just a different world and different atmosphere, but
yeah, it's a very Midwest thing to do, but not so much in California.
What did you learn when you tried out for the Ultimate Fighter?
Well, that they only care about putting on a TV show. They didn't really care about finding really good fighters. But they got lucky. I think that first season, they probably had one of the best crews of fighters there were, because there were a lot of tough guys who just weren't known by the mainstream at the time.
How important was your decision to drop down to the welterweight division?
Dropping down to welterweight was a big thing to do, because I originally was trying to fight at light heavyweight, and those guys were just huge. And I didn't realize that they would walk on at like 220, cutting down to 205. So when I got to California and I started working out a lot, my weight got down to a natural level of like 190 or something. I started thinking that 170 was a real possibility. And then I fought Shorty harder at 175, and then I didn't get another fight at 170 for some time. But I think 170 was a good move for me, and it's been a natural weight for me, and really easy for me to make over the years. And I'll probably end up fighting 170 for a long time.
How does it feel to be in the same sentence with Royce Gracie when it comes to consecutive wins?
Yeah, so I think that's a good, cool thing to be associated with him. There's not really many people who've done 8 consecutive wins without losing in the UFC. So I'm with him and Khabib. And Anderson Silva, guys who've done it, so good company to be with.
Exactly. I mean, that's one heck of an elite group right there. Should you have received a rematch versus George St. Pierre?
I mean, I think I should have. I've beaten enough guys and beaten everybody and put myself at a point where I should have at least gotten one more opportunity to fight with him. But, he's coming back now, so who knows, maybe that could still happen.
That would be awesome. So what was the story behind the whole video game issue?
Yeah, video games, I didn't want to give up my image and likeness forever without any compensation, which seems pretty common sense now, but that was what the deal was for, and I had a problem with it, so they fired me. But yeah, it just goes to show the amount of control that the promoter has in the industry.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I mean, I get it if they wanted, to be on that game. Sure, you sign, and they give you something to be on one game, but they wanted to basically not give you much of anything for for forever?
No, it was for nothing. It was zero competition.
Oh wow, that is ridiculous.
They might have thrown some money at us for just 3 months later, but there was no contracted exchange of wealth of any kind.
That is ridiculous. I was going to say,
Yeah.
shoot. Now, if you wanted to be an if you wanted to do that, you would have went ahead and played college football.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny is the college athletes, I think, make something like 22% of the proceeds they raise by being in their sport, and ticket sales and all the other stuff. And then MMA fighters are only around like 17%.
That is ridiculous.
So those college athletes actually get more back from the money they make than the fighters do.
Dang, that is insane. And they're supposed to be amateurs, where obviously you all are professionals. So
Exactly.
that is ridiculous. Now, some people have criticized your style because a lot of your matches, go the distance and are decision at the end. What do you feel about that?
I mean, you gotta find something to complain about, I guess. Winning. And if you're gonna complain about, not being action by the guy who's stopping the action, that's, in my experience, been the guy on bottom who holds on to wrists and elbows and then yells at the ref to stand them up.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of reminds me of Mayweather. I mean, a lot of his fights, go the distance, but, just like you, with that great winning percentage, are some of the greatest fighters of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that's an accurate comparison?
A little bit. I mean, it's different because I think Mayweather's more defensive, but I'm offensive 100% of the time. It's just that I get put in positions, where the guy on bottom can hug and tie me up, or slow action down enough where they can get stood up and be rewarded with a break of action. So I think it's a little different just because the guys I'm fighting against are actively trying to stop this fight.
Okay, so they're more stalling and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I get the blame for it because I'm on top, but I'm the one who's throwing punches and elbows and trying to finish the fight.
Exactly. You're still being aggressive. You're still doing the right things. It's just
the guy on bottom, and they've been doing this for a while. If the guy on bottom slows the action down enough, they reward him by standing him up. And I think there needs to be something done about that. If you're purposely stopping the action, if it was kickboxing or boxing, and you're purposely going out there and clinching and stopping the action, eventually they take a point away from you. I think they need something on the same lines in MMA too. If you're not being active from any position, you need to be penalized.
Did the Eric Silva fight save your MMA career?
No, it saved me financially for a short period of time, but it definitely didn't save my career. I think that
because I know you were talking about retirement based on that.
Well, I was thinking about retirement after the Jake Shields fight. The Eric Silva fight was, closer to facing bankruptcy, I think.
Oh, dang.
Because the fight before that was the Johnny Henderson fight, and I fought that fight injured because I needed the money.
Oh, that explains the result there. Yeah, I mean, if you're going into that fight injured, that makes it quite tough. So, when you signed with the World Series of Fighting, were there any other suitors?
At that time, when we signed with the World Series, I don't think there were any more viable options as far as promotions go to fight for. So we kind of had to take what what we could. The money offer was okay, and they were a new organization, so we took a chance with them a little bit. But Bellator hadn't become what it is yet, and there wasn't anywhere else to go.
What caused you to fail the athletic commissioner pre-fight drug test?
I convinced myself that in order to continue making good money like everybody else, I had to cheat like everybody else.
So kind of like Barry Bonds. He'd been successful as a hitter, been doing a great job, but he saw what was going on with Mark McGwire and Sosa, and it unfortunately inspired him to take a shortcut to be competitive. So it wasn't so much that he wanted to do it, but he felt kind of the pressure to stay competitive. Is it something to that extent?
Not even to say competitive, because I have been competing against guys who I know have been cheating for a while, or I assume were cheating for a while. It came more down to financials. It was like guys who were making 70-80% more money than I was per fight, and I was just like, why am I doing things the right way and taking a pay cut? Just making excuses to rationalize it. In a hard spot, making a lot less money, and almost invisible with the promotion I was fighting for. So it made sense at the time. Looking back at it, it was pretty foolish. But I think overall, testosterone in a weight class sport isn't beneficial. I don't think it helps, because it's specifically made to increase muscle mass. So I don't think increasing your muscle mass is going to help you in a weight class sport unless you're moving up weight classes.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say the only thing it's going to do is make you bigger, and if you're trying to stay on weight, that really doesn't. And
then you're going to have a harder time making the weight that you need to make.
Yeah. How difficult was that 9-month suspension? Because obviously you had been fighting constantly the majority of your life. So, I mean, you probably still trained and all, but I mean, what was that like not having the fight to prepare for?
Yeah, I was a big layoff, because I mean that's my life is built around schedules that have to do with like me working out and training. So to just force yourself into the schedule and not having anything to train for can be very difficult. It's very hard to maintain motivation levels, which is one of the important reasons why you need to set your work schedules out, no matter what, whether or not you have a fight or anything else going on. You just need to kind of schedule your days, schedule your weeks ahead of time. That way, you don't need to be motivated. You just kind of have to stick to your schedule.
Exactly. That is huge to be organized. I know what you mean there. When you defeated Jake Shields for the vacant World Series of Fighting Championship, was it about beating Jake, or was it more about winning the belt?
Well, I'd won the belt against Zaffarino before, so I was defending the belt. But it wasn't just defending the belt. It was the big part of it was beating Jake too, because Jake was, probably the biggest, most successful person I've faced in a long time, and he's probably the most successful fighter that I've beaten. I went over Dan Henderson and pretty much everybody. So it was a huge win going in there to fight against Jake and to beat Jake.
At the time when you signed with the World Series of Fighting, like you said, Bellator wasn't where it was, or where it is today, obviously. Was it difficult to vacate the title and go to Bellator, or was it, just because it was such a great opportunity with how Bellator was rising?
Well, I technically didn't have to vacate the belt because WSOF changed their name to PFL. And I was no longer I was no longer the champion I wasn't the PFL champion. I was just the World Series champion. So I'll be forever the World Series of Fighting welterweight champion.
Oh,
There'll never
nice.
be another World Series though.
Yeah.
But as far as leaving goes, no, because I think I beat all the best guys at welterweight at PFL. So there's a lot more names, a lot of tougher guys, a lot of higher ranked guys, and high profile people with Bellator. So there's a lot more bigger fights, a lot more high profile stuff for me with that organization.
You started off beating Paul Daley in your first fight with Bellator. Who do they have next for you?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've heard rumors about September. There being a September show. There's rumors about tournaments, but I haven't heard anything definitively from anybody yet, and nothing for sure from Bellator at all.
What is your thought on those tournaments? I mean, they're pretty exciting, aren't they?
I think the way they've been doing them has been a good way. Just focusing on one tournament at a time, and then breaking it up. That way, people have something to follow along with. But at the same time, they're not overwhelmed with tons of tournaments and tons of fighters and tons of fights they can't keep up with. But I think it's pretty cool.
Tell us about the impact your team and your coaches have on you.
You have to surround yourself with good people if you want to make it to the top. You're not going to get there on your own. So I'm in a good place here in San Jose with the AKA. Good manager, good coaches, good training partners, a lot of people to push. And, I've been out here for a long time. I got a lot of friends and connections with different gyms, so I can hop around and get a lot of good training.
Of your teammates that we may not have heard of yet, who's that next big breakout fighter that we should know about?
Oh, man, I don't know. We got a lot of young up-and-coming guys. Kyle Kutchmer. He was a wrestler from I think Oklahoma State, one of DC's guys. He's got his first fight coming up here in June, I think. He's somebody I think people should probably keep an eye on. It'll take him a while to get his experience level up, but he's a tough guy. He's got his first fight coming up next month. If
fans are wanting to follow you on social media, where should they go? Where's the best spot to find more about you?
Well, they should go to jonfitch.net. Go to jonfitch.net, and they can find everything they need to there.
Excellent. And any final thoughts just about Bellator and their exciting event, Bellator 200, coming up?
No, hopefully I can find a place to watch it tomorrow. But no, it should be exciting. They've been putting on really good shows. Scott Gruber knows what he's doing over there. Everybody's been working real hard with Bellator. I'm excited to be working with those guys. Should be some good times coming up.
Sounds great, Jon. Thank you. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back on the show and when you win their world title.
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you.